What's up, FA Nation? It's time for another edition of 3-Point Play. Hope you guys are all having a fantastic weekend. I am joined today by none other than Ryan Hallam, Fantasy Alarm's own Ryan Hallam, and we're going to have some fun debate today. Ryan, how's it going?
Not too bad. Yourself? Everything's going pretty good here. It's a little bit of a rainy day, but can't complain.
A little bit of rain, that's okay, as long as the sun comes out afterward and then you get a rainbow, so many silver linings out there. And the country is starting to open up a little bit, so I'm hoping to get to play some tennis this weekend. So we'll see. Lots going on. You never know what's going to happen from day to day, but I know what is going to be fun is talking about some NFL and maybe we're going to talk MLB today, maybe we're not. We'll see what comes up. You're just going to have to roll with me here.
I can do that.
You ready?
Always.
Okay, so let's explain how this works. We're going to discuss 3 questions, and we're each going to take opposite sides of the debate, and we each have to provide 3 clear, distinct points for our argument. And in the end, we'll find a winner. I don't know who's going to decide the winner, if it gets to be me or maybe you guys out there can vote on the winner. But I have a few that I'm pretty sure I'm going to win, so I'm feeling pretty confident. How are you feeling?
Oh, I always win.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see.
As long as it's not about ice cream.
As long as it's not about ice cream. You totally lost the ice cream debate last week. That wasn't even close. I understand you had great arguments for chicken wings, but when it comes to ice cream, you're not in the ballpark.
Who knew?
Get it?
Who knew it was so important? Yeah. Who knew ice cream was so important?
Very important. All right. So I actually really enjoyed one of the articles you wrote this week for Fantasy Alarm. And you wrote an article about Lamar Jackson versus Patrick Mahomes and who should be the number 1 quarterback this year for our fantasy teams, who you're betting on. So let me ask you that. I saw your answer in the article, but I want you to back it up a little bit more here today. And I'm going to take the other side of the debate. So, Ryan Hallam, who is the number 1 fantasy football quarterback for 2020, Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson?
This one is super close, and I had a hard time with it. It kind of came down to just small differences. But I'm going this year with Patrick Mahomes. We all talk about waiting for quarterbacks, but some people don't like to wait for quarterbacks. It is a position that scores the most points. Some people like to adopt and get their guy right away. But if it's Mahomes versus Jackson, I'm going for Mahomes for 3 reasons. One is his weapons. Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill are 2 of the best at their positions. Kelce's a target beast. He's got great hands. He's the ultimate safety valve. Tyreek Hill has some of the best speed in the game at any spot, never mind receiver, and he can take any catch and turn it into a touchdown. He is elite at the position. They drafted McCole Hardman last year. He showed some flashes of some unbelievable speed and some just absolutely playmaking ability. Not a huge fan of Sammy Watkins, but he's a good, solid veteran receiver. And he's got 2 good pass-catching running backs out of the backfield with the veteran Damian Williams, and they drafted Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So for the weapons, we're on the other side. Lamar Jackson has Mark Andrews, who's very good, a nice tight end. But then the wide receiver, there's a lot of question marks. Marquise Brown last year showed a lot of big playability as well, but was very inconsistent. He was completely disappeared for 4 or 5 weeks. And then we have Willie Snead, and then they drafted Devin Duvernay. There's someone else I'm forgetting. Miles Boykin. Yeah, I mean the weapons don't add up to the same. So that's the first one for Mahomes. The second one is his arm. I mean, we haven't seen, and I also like to preface this by saying I don't like Patrick Mahomes, but anyway. And we'll get to that at the end. His arm. I mean, you can't. We haven't seen an arm like his since Brett Favre. Let's be honest. He can make any throw. He's thrown it left-handed. He's thrown it underhanded. He can throw it a bullet on the run. He can throw it 50 yards down the field if he plants himself. Even if he doesn't plant himself. I mean, the guy's got an incredible arm. He can make any throw on the football field. Doesn't matter where it is. And his ability to make something happen out of nothing. When the play's breaking down, he's unmatchable right now in the NFL. And the third is just the team in general. His coach, Andy Reid, obviously has an offensive system that is completely tailored and made for Mahomes. A lot of throwing. They don't revolve around the run very often. His offensive line ranked in the top 5 according to pass blocking, according to Pro Football Focus last year. And obviously he's shown the grit, he's shown the competitiveness, and he's shown the clutch. And this is where I don't like him. He can perform under pressure, as he did in the Super Bowl to beat my 49ers. So for those 3 reasons, I pick Patrick Mahomes.
Okay, those are all really good reasons, and we're going to do some more debate after this. But let me first present my 3 reasons for Lamar Jackson. Okay, number one is his arm. Oh, yeah, I said it. I know everyone knocks Lamar Jackson's arm, but on non-play action throws, no quarterback actually had a better passing rating than Jackson at 111.6. He had 178 completions on 269 attempts for 2,112 yards and 25 touchdowns, and only 6 interceptions in there. We're talking about a guy who went from barely being able to pass it all to being one of the best passers statistically last season. Hard to believe everyone wants to think of Mahomes there. But all I can say is, listen, if he got better, maybe he'll get even better. There's only room for growth there in the area that's supposed to be his weak spot, which turns out isn't weak. Number two is his legs. You may as well be getting a running back as well. His 1,200 plus rushing yards were beat only by like the top 3 guys. Actually, he only rushed for 150 yards less than Zeke, the same as Chris Carson, and more than Leonard Fournette and Josh Jacobs. So you're basically getting a running back and a quarterback. So he actually threw for 3,000 passing yards and rushed for 1,500 yards in his first 2 seasons. That's absolutely history. Number 3, he's going to be number 1 for you in every format. It doesn't matter whether it's PPR, half point PPR, if it's standard. By the way, Pro Football Focus gave Jackson a passing grade of 85.3 last season versus Mahomes, who got a passing grade of 82.3. But let's just call that even, okay? Pro Football Focus gave Jackson a rushing grade of 90.5 versus Mahomes at 66. So there's a clear advantage there. And he has a much better O-line. Pro Football Focus ranked Lamar Jackson's O-line as the number 2 versus the Chiefs ranked, which were number 16. So I want to go back now after presenting my point and talk to you about one of the things you said about weapons. I agree. Mahomes has better weapons. But here's my counter to that. Lamar Jackson doesn't need weapons. He is a weapon. He's a human Swiss Army knife. He can spin. He can leap. He can run. He can throw. He can throw, people. Do not doubt this. So that's why I'm going to say Lamar Jackson is the number 1.
Well, I won't argue that he can do what he did with fewer weapons, but you can't argue with the fact that having a better guy to throw to is a little better. And my rebuttal to some of your stats that you threw up is we also have to remember that Patrick Mahomes dealt with a dislocated knee and a really bad ankle injury last year, so he was not quite at his best last year. I would love to see those stats based against his 2018
I actually
MVP
thought
season.
You would say that before this live stream. You were like, what are you pulling up over there, Jen? And I thought, I'm going to pull up some information. So let's compare it to Lamar Jackson's 2019 to Patrick Mahomes' 2018. So in 2018, Mahomes had a quarterback rating of 113.8. Lamar Jackson had a quarterback rating in 2019 of 113.3. So that puts them pretty even when Patrick Mahomes is fully healthy. Now, as far as adjusted net yards per pass attempt.
Oh, now you're digging deep.
Now we are digging deep.
You're getting into the nerd stats now.
I'm getting into the nerd stats. Patrick Mahomes was 8.89 in 2018, and Lamar Jackson was 8.19 in 2019. That's pretty darn close. Now you add to that the advantage you're throwing in with Lamar Jackson's legs. I'm just saying, I think the knock is too much on Lamar Jackson's passing ability and the way that he, obviously studies and works, his work ethic. And so far, he's been healthier than Mahomes as well. Like, as you mentioned, Mahomes has had a little ankle, little issues here and there. Lamar Jackson, even in that game he was injured, where we were all worried about him not being able to play, turned out to be nothing really to worry about. He seems to be really, really sturdy. So.
Yes. This is very close, and I like I said, when I was writing the article, I had it came down to like the last topic before I picked a winner here. My last rebuttal to your point, and this is one that people always bring out, and a lot of it has to do with Lamar Jackson's backup, Robert Griffin III. When you run the ball 175 times as a quarterback, that's 170 well, let's say 150, 140 times more that he's going to be hit running the ball than Mahomes will. I'm sure there's 30 or 40 where he runs out of bounds, but there's going to be a lot more contact. Is that going to break him down? I don't know. I mean, but there is a little bit more of a risk. But on the flip side, like I said, Mahomes had 2 injuries last year, so you never know in the NFL who's going to get hurt.
Yeah,
it does seem Jackson puts himself out a little bit more, but I'm not one who's downgrading him because of that. It was extremely close. I can't fault you for taking Lamar Jackson. I could have made 3 points for Lamar Jackson as well. But I've done some mock drafts. I've made this choice, and I found myself picking Patrick Mahomes. I think it's a little more, and I know the NFL is going more towards the running quarterback, which Mahomes can do when he needs to. But I still think just the arm and the traditional quarterback skills, I think, is what made me pick him just a hair over Jackson.
Well, I think the biggest argument for Mahomes over Jackson would simply be for value. I think you can get Mahomes much later than you can get Jackson. In order to get Jackson, you have to take him in the first round at this point. That's how mock drafts are going, and you can wait longer for Mahomes. So as far as value, is it smarter to take a first round running back and then Patrick Mahomes than it is to just take Lamar Jackson and miss out on the first round running back? So in that way, I can see for fantasy purposes, Patrick Mahomes being more valuable because he allows you to assemble possibly a more valuable team.
Very close. I would love to have some people vote and let us know who we think it is. I still stand by Mahomes. You still stand by Jackson, but neither one of us has great conviction with this one. This one is really a razor's edge of how close they are.
They're both so good, and one injury could change everything, as we know. I do love that Jackson passed for the 10th most yards in Ravens history. I know one thing is that, it's a run heavy team. Like, what are the options for scoring? There's so much back and forth, debate.
The thing with Jackson, I watched him a lot last year. It's just, there's just some games, it's like the defense, there's no answer. It doesn't matter what you try to do. He gets you. I remember watching the 49ers game against him, and I'm like, we can't stop this guy, because the minute he starts looking like he's going to run, he gets the line, bloop, plop it over the top for Andrews and he goes for 25 yards. And then if you have one guy spying on him, the one guy has no chance. You can't tackle this guy. Obviously, the Titans did it in the playoffs. It was, I don't know how that happened, but sometimes he just really looks unstoppable. I don't know if the NFL defensive coordinators had an off season to try to figure out what to do with this guy. I'll be fascinated to see. But yeah, I mean,
me too.
Back to your his ability to throw. He threw 36 touchdowns last year. He led the NFL in touchdown passes. I mean, he's not just a runner. For all the people who want him to be a wide receiver out of college, looking real stupid right now.
Yeah, they're both just incredible talents. It's exciting for the future of the NFL to see this. And even Josh Allen, Deshaun Watson, lots of really fun young talent out there. And I'm looking forward to seeing, Locke with his Daniel Jones, a lot of fun people to watch. Of course, Joe Burrow, Tua. We've got all these new quarterbacks coming into the league too. So lots of fun, lots of stuff to look forward to for your fantasy leagues and just for watching football and having a great time. And oh my gosh, I can't wait for football season. I should be saying I can't wait for baseball season, but anyway, we're not going to go there. We're recording this on, by the way, Wednesday, June 3rd, which is actually going to lead me into a little bit of my answer to the second question I have, and you'll see why in a moment. I want to ask you, Ryan, to tell me, what is the best current sports rivalry?
I am going to go a little off the beaten path here. I'm not going pro, and I wonder if you're going to say, which I hope you say. I'm going to go into the college ranks, and I'm going to say Duke and North Carolina. And for college basketball. And here are my 3 reasons why. The one is, I think rivalries are better in college than they are in pro sports. So we all have our pro teams. I like the 49ers, you like the Cowboys and the Astros and Cardinals and all of this. But in my college, I went to University of Albany. Didn't have any great school pride for our sports. So we weren't very good at anything. But I don't know if there's anything more for people who go to these schools that pride for their college. You carry that forever. You have these college friends, and you went here, and the alma mater, the alumni and all this, and it's like your college gets into your blood. It's a little different than pro sports where you could have a lot of the same players from year to year. These are constantly cycling new people in. But to me, the college rivalry is bigger than any sports, any pro sports. It just gets deeper and deeper. You got the Cameron crazies in Duke. You got everything in North Carolina. So to me, it's just the first reason is just college is bigger than these pro sports. Second is the proximity of the two colleges. They're less than 10 miles away. I believe it's 8 miles away. So that's going to be a huge difference. I mean, that's like a stone's throw away. Duke is a private college. North Carolina is a public college. That always comes into play because I did go to two colleges. I went to Oneonta, which is upstate New York. There was a private college, Hartwick, nearby. We hated them. I went to the University of Albany. St. Rose was right next to it. It's a private college. We hated them too. So the whole public-private college thing, I think, also is a big part of it. The third one is just the star power that's come through it over the years. Just the coaches, Coach K, and Dean Smith, and now Roy Williams, Michael Jordan, James Worthy, Jerry Stackhouse, Vince Carter, Anton Jameson. It goes on and on. North Carolina, Christian Laettner, Grant Hill, J.J. Redick, Bobby Hurley. I know these are a lot of names from the 90s. Carlos Boozer. It's down a little bit right now because North Carolina isn't as good. However, they're still playing games like for the ages. They've played 2 overtime games. One was earlier this year before everything shut down, and they played another one last year that was just so. It's like one of those ones where it doesn't matter what their record is. It's just they go at each other as hard as they can. It's going to be a close game most of the time. And it's just a fierce rivalry.
All right. I mean, I actually think that's a great answer. I think you're right that college somehow gets you more, loyalty and lives there. I know I still root for my TCU football players, no matter where they are. Andy Dalton, LaDainian Tomlinson, these people, like wherever they go. Josh Doxson, even. I've still got a little candle burning for Josh Doxson somewhere. There's loyalty there. All right. I'm going to go with someone whose birthday is today, Rafael Nadal versus Roger Federer. This is the right answer. Okay, why? This rivalry has been going on for 15 years. They've met together 40 times. Nadal leads in head-to-head 24-16. He leads on clay, and Federer leads on hard court and grass. So, we've had this going on for a while, and it's still going on. 2 players at the absolute top of their sport. So much fun to watch. One's a lefty, one's a righty. Number 2, these guys should not be this good. I just said, Nadal turned 34 today. Roger is about to turn 39. They're at the top of their game in their mid to late 30s. It's incredible. In fact, the top 3 tennis players are in their mid to late 30s at this point. But I'm not entering Djokovic into this because the real fun of the rivalry is Federer and Nadal. And if you didn't stay up all night and watch the Australian Open final in 2017, I'm sorry for you. It was amazing. Congratulations to Fed on that one. But now we're talking about Federer has 20 majors titles and Nadal has 19, but Federer is 5 years older. So now we have the chase, right? We want to see, can Federer get one more? Will Nadal catch him? Nadal could get injured or he could be really healthy. They're both so much fun to watch. Number 3 is it's clear they're actually really friends and they really, really respect each other. And it's awesome to see. It's on an international scale. People all over the world can get behind this. One is Swiss, one is Spanish. Roger Federer makes me want to buy a Rolex. And Rafael Nadal makes me want to learn how to play tennis. I mean, it's just fantastic. So I'm going with Fed Nadal as the greatest current sports rivalry.
I'm very glad that neither one of us said Yankees Red Sox because that's trash. Because I was thinking you might say that, and I wanted to say anytime that I've gone anywhere, because I live in New York, so I have to hear about this all the time. Anytime where I've gone anywhere else in the country, no one gives a crap about the Red Sox and the Yankees. The only people who care about it is Boston and New York. The rest of the country thinks it's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really cool. I have to say, living in New York for a long time, it was fun to do it, and I'm also not going to lie. Sorry, New York friends. I was so rooting for Boston when they came up from behind and, the was it NLDS?
03? No, yeah, it was ALCS.
ALDS. I don't know my league.
2000. I was close.
That was fantastic. It was fun. Big Papi was a star. Johnny Damon was a thing. You guys remember when Johnny Damon was a thing? So it was fantastic. I loved it. And so I got behind that. But your point to being college, your point mentioning colleges, and my point mentioning international is it's really not just local. Like these are things that like a college is something people from all over the world go to. Tennis is a sport everybody watches. So I think it's fun that you went that way too. I definitely declare myself the winner on this. Definitely Fed Nadal is the answer, but you guys can vote on this one too. What's a better sports rivalry, Duke UNC or Fed Nadal? And that leads us to question number 3. I'm going to let you go first on this one again. And this one is, who's the best Ryan?
I mean, isn't it obvious? Call it right here. Hallam. That's it. Number one. Number one, baby. No. All right. So if I can't pick me, because I do like myself, I'm going to go with a little different. I'm going to go with Nolan Ryan.
Ooh,
and here's why.
Such a good one.
He is the Major League Baseball's all-time leading strikeout with 5,714. He had 215 double-digit strikeout games in his career, 6 300 strikeout seasons, which we've only started to see again now. We haven't seen one of those in years. All of a sudden, they popped up a little bit. 7 no-hitters. He's just dominating pitcher. He's one of the best. He pitched in. I'm just going to kind of just roll in through all 3 of my reasons here because there's just so many accolades for the guy. He pitched in 4. He pitched in 4 different decades: 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. He logged almost 5,400 innings in his career. From age 42 to age 45, he threw 15 complete games. You can't get these kids to throw one anymore. In 5 different seasons, he had 20 complete games. Obviously, it's a completely different time. He pitched until he was 46. He's just the man. Of course, as a young kid growing up, he was one of my first heroes because he had my first name, which I think now is stupid. But, when you're a kid, you think that's cool. I had like one of those T-shirt jerseys, so, it said Ryan on the back. I thought that was cool. Now, looking back, I'm like, that's dumb. But at the time, I thought it was pretty cool. But my favorite part about Nolan Ryan was his toughness. He didn't take any crap from anybody. And let's tell the story that everyone knows. He was 46 years old, and he hit 26-year-old Robin Ventura with a pitch in which Robin Ventura decided to charge the mound on the old man. And guess what happened? Despite being 20 years older, Ryan kicked the crap out of him, put him in a headlock, noogied him, and then Ventura got thrown out of the game. Nolan Ryan continued to pitch, did not get thrown out of the game, threw 7 innings, gave up 1 run, struck out 5, and got the win in that game after beating up this young whippersnapper, Robin Ventura. The other instance of his toughness, and this is where I will end, is he took, at age 43, a Bo Jackson comebacker to the face, which he was covered in blood. If you're too young to remember this, Google it. The picture is gross. His face covered in blood. And yet again, continued to pitch at age 43. We're writing Clayton Kershaw off at 31. Nolan Ryan was 43, right. took a ball in the face. Didn't get the win in that one because it was a close game. 7 innings, 1 run, struck out 8 at age 43 after taking a fastball back from Bo Jackson, who was basically Hercules back then, right in the mouth.
Oh, yeah, Bo knows.
Yeah. Nolan Ryan, hands down, the best Ryan.
Oh, wow. I cannot. It's going to be hard to argue with that one because Nolan Ryan is like one of my all-time favorite players. If we could just get more Nolan Ryan, and just hearing you talking about that just makes me want baseball back so badly. Please, guys, just be nice to each other. Just come to an agreement.
I did enjoy looking up his old numbers. It was
he's like old Texas tough, And I grew up in Dallas, and I got to see Nolan Ryan pitch when I was young in person quite a few times, couple times, I should say. And it was always fantastic. I remember my dad telling me, like, Nolan Ryan's pitching. This is a big deal. You need to remember this. You'll remember this. He's like the oldest pitcher you're ever going to see pitch, et cetera. And he's still great. And it was always fantastic. All right. So that's going to be really, really, really hard to beat. I wish... Yeah, I mean, that's just really hard to beat. And I had trouble picking a Ryan because there's a lot of great Ryans. I mean, there's Ryan Seacrest, if you like American Idol. There's Ryan Gosling, who's a great actor and, stars even in musicals, La La Land.
He was good in the Titans.
Good to remember the Titans. There's Matt Ryan, who I absolutely adore, has already been in the league for like 11 years and is fantastic for the Falcons. Great, classy guy, 4-time Pro Bowler, all right. But I had to go with the chalk here. I had to go with Ryan Hallam.
Yes!
Okay. And you know what's really hard?
I didn't expect that at all.
Narrowing it down to 3 reasons why. I had like 8. So I'm going to try to just kind of put them all together like you did. Okay, number 1, Ryan Hallam, besides being a fantastic fantasy analyst, he's a team player. Have you seen how many pies this guy has taken to the face? That is above and beyond. He's always out there promoting everybody else around him. He makes everybody around him feel good. Ryan Hallam is a team player in addition to being an excellent analyst. And by the way, if you guys don't see these articles he puts out when NFL season starts, he literally breaks down every single game for you and makes a mention on every player you should think about. I can't even imagine how much time that would take, how much detail he puts in there, and how easy it is for us to consume when we want to, I just want to know what it's going to be like when, it's Ravens versus 49ers this week. I see all the people he thinks are going to make a good play. He makes it funny. He makes it entertaining, easy to remember. So that is my number 1 argument for Ryan Hallam. Number 2. He's a pop culture expert. He's regularly making me feel like I'm a grandma, even though his nickname is Grandpa. This guy knows everything about everything that's on TV, reality TV, pop stars, singers, anything. And in addition to that, he'll turn it into a bracket. So if you want to play along, you can. You can vote. If you happen to like Walter White from Breaking Bad, which if you watch today's earlier table of that discussion, you see I don't. You can vote for him as your favorite TV character. I do have to mention, though, and this is something we recorded that I'm not sure ever aired, he does have a strange penchant for serial killers. He finds them very interesting, which is fascinating. A little weird, but I'm not gonna take that out. So number 2, he is a pop culture expert. And number 3, Ryan Hallam is a fantastic dad. Can I get a hey y'all from Morgan? Is she back there? This man loves his daughters, loves his family, loves his wife, puts them first, makes sure even if he doesn't like ice cream, that his daughter can have an ice cream cake. I mean, he absolutely adores them. He goes and sits through, and I understand how painful this is because my dad did it for me. He will sit through a choir concert, a band concert, when his child is responsible for about 3.5 minutes of it, and it probably goes on for an hour and a half. And I know how bad junior high music concerts are. They're horrible, but he goes because he loves his daughter and he sits through them and he supports her and he supports her love for musical theater. He's a great father. He's a great husband. He's a great colleague. And so my answer is, and I hope you agree with me that I am the winner here, even though it was tough competition, is Ryan Hallam.
I think Nolan Ryan's a hands down winner there.
Yeah, well, Nolan Ryan could definitely beat you up. No question about it.
I didn't have 5,000 strikeouts.
If this were a head-to-head, Nolan Ryan would take you down.
Easy.
Sorry to say. Yeah. And he would definitely punch you for feeling anything at all.
He could probably still beat me up now.
He could beat you up now, 100%. Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
He's probably close to 80 by now.
He is Texas royalty as far as I'm concerned. Like, we absolutely adore him down there. He pitched for both the Astros and the Rangers, so we love him every which way. But yeah, that was an awesome debate today. I had so much fun. A little bit of memory lane, a little bit of tennis, a little bit of basketball, baseball, and a great debate over Patrick Mahomes versus Lamar Jackson.
I didn't see the tennis coming. You threw me with that one. I got to be honest.
Yeah.
I should have.
We have lots of interests. You guys out there, follow us on Twitter, follow us on YouTube. If you want to vote in pop culture brackets, or you just want to see someone take a lot of pies, please follow at Fighting Chance. But follow Fantasy Alarm everywhere, even on Twitch. We are bringing you live and pre-recorded videos every day of the week. We're here with you until sports is back. It looks like NBA is coming back. It looks like NHL will probably be coming back. NFL is still happening, and we're very hopeful for MLB. Brian, do you have any parting thoughts for today?
No, I'm still trying to get over the fact that you chose me. I was so expecting Ryan Reynolds. I don't know how I beat out Deadpool and Van
Well,
Wilder. That's what I thought. That's why when you said chalk, I figured it was Ryan Reynolds.
I mean, Ryan Reynolds was married to both Scarlett Johansson and now Blake Lively. So, yeah, but no, you still win.
Yeah, I have nothing. I have nothing to say. You finally rendered me speechless.
Oh, yes, I definitely won this edition of 3 Point Play. You guys, please check in on everything we're doing at Fantasy Alarm, and we will catch you next time.